Welcome to the BFF Report. I'm your host, Mike B, aka Phony, and today we're going to talk about a game called Krater. This one was actually suggested by you guys. I think it was like late, probably Wednesday night or so, and I realized, oh, I don't have anything for the BFF Report. Thankfully, you all on Twitter came through for me, and quite a few of you guys actually recommended this game because it had just come out, and so I decided to check it out. It's $15 on Steam. Couldn't really pass it up. It wasn't like I was throwing away money or anything. And albeit sometimes I spend $15, it ends up being money that I end up throwing away. But in this case, Krater is a $15 post-apoc squad-based action role-playing game on Steam. Think Dota / Diablo 3 / League of Legends, but not Bloodline Champions of StarCraft. You're not gonna have a ton of skill shots here like you see in League of Legends. However, you do have a couple AoE targeted abilities, and of course, everything else is pretty much locked targeting. Now, there are a couple ways that you can play this game that I made a tweet saying that this game does it for me more than Diablo 3 in that it provides offline play. You're not going to get into this game and get error 37, can't connect to battle.net or anything like that. You could just get in this game, click offline, create a new game, and then go about your business. Now, that being said, that is the only way you could play this game right now. You see, the game's released, but there's a bunch of features that have not yet been implemented. Now, I still think the game is worth $15 as it sits in its current state. But I really wish I could show you guys what multiplayer co-op and of course PvP looks like, because that kind of stuff is coming down the line according to the developer. Now, your squad is composed of 3 different characters. That's the max you can have, even though you have 4 different classes to choose from. But you can mix and match them however you want. If you want to have 3 different tanking classes or 3 different medics, you can do that. And of course, the option to move and attack as a squad is there, but you can select individual members and move them separately if necessary. An example situation would be pulling a medic back to throw out a heal without moving your tank, but you can still activate the tank and DPS's abilities even though they aren't the selected units. Here's where the skill part comes into play. Someone who is better than I am at, say, RTS games where you manage multiple units or groups, which is everybody, will excel early on in this game, but for the rest of us, there's easy mode. Speaking of, there are 3 different game modes you can select at the beginning of the game, and you cannot change it at any point while you're playing. You can't just randomly decide that you're tired of playing hardcore mode, you're gonna drop it down to casual, you're just stuck. And because you only have 1 game account, if you want to change it, you actually have to start all over. Of course, some of you creative types will find ways of getting around this, but we won't go there. Plus, that's not even a permanent thing. We don't know. Maybe they're gonna add the ability to have more than 1 account on offline mode, or they might actually allow you to copy your offline account to the online portion. They're still kind of up in the air with how they want to do things. They are making changes and they are very receptive to feedback. I actually hit them up on Twitter asking about some of the things I noticed with hardcore mode that I thought was kind of funky, and they asked me what I felt it should be like, and I was like, well, hardcore mode should be hardcore. You should just die. Game over. Beginning of the game, start from scratch. Because as it stands, it's promoted as having hardcore mode, offline, all of that, which enticed me initially, but it didn't quite come off as being hardcore enough. I mean, you see, I died, my last character is dead, I start over at the beginning town, I'm rank 0 on all of my characters, but I have inventory. Is this inventory left over from my previous characters? That doesn't make any sense to me, but again, these guys seem to be down with the option of going back to the menu screen and again, starting all over. Now, I don't want to let these guys off the hook completely for releasing a game that wasn't finished, but this game is in way better shape than most AAA releases that I've seen lately. So going back a little bit, here's my character. One of them is injured. See, the thing that pops up here says that you have either permanent or temporary injury. The permanent ones, obviously, you're probably not going to be able to fix. The temporary ones, you could go to the doc here, the medic, and they can actually repair you up for a small or maybe sometimes large fee. The types of injuries varies greatly. Some of them only modify your focus a little bit. Others will change all of your stats. Some change your movement speed. There's a lot of different types of injuries that you can sustain in this game, which adds a nice bit of unpredictability to gameplay. But what happens if one of your characters dies, or maybe you're just not happy with the class performance or even your squad composition? If you want to change things out, you could go and swap out characters on your roster, and if you run out of characters on your roster you want to deal with, or if you cap them out, because I believe the starting characters only go up to level 5, then you can shell out a couple bucks to pick some up at the recruitment officer. Now, each one of these characters vary not only in cost, but also base stats and abilities and all of that. And the way you augment all of these by picking up better weapons with better stats, of course, gaining rank and, implants, and in a roundabout way, boosters. But they operate a little bit different. You see, you have abilities, and then you have trees that come off these abilities. And you can buy a booster that says, whenever you use this one ability, it does 5% more damage. Now, weapons, implants, and boosters can all be found as loot, quest rewards, or crafted. When it comes to boosters and implants, you unlock more slots as you gain rank. When your character maxes out in rank, hopefully you have enough money saved up, you can go and pick up another one from the recruitment officer. Now keep in mind, you can't just strip somebody of their boosters and use them for like another character. Once you put those in, they're in. So again, if you hit rank 5, think about if you want to sit there and spend money or resources crafting or looting various boosters and implants for a character that you're probably going to get rid of here in just like 20 minutes. But the one thing that's missing is you can't change the character's look with the exception of the weapon. Whenever you get a new weapon, you swap that out, you can actually see that's changed. And I think that players generally like to have their characters look physically, like visually, like they've been through hell and they have all this awesome loot that they're wearing. Unfortunately, your character's gonna stay looking the way they look at the beginning all the way through to the end. But I suppose this is why implants actually even exist in this game, to kind of take place of the fact that there's no armor. Now, some of you guys are really keen on the way I do BFF reports, right? Like, you notice if I don't use, like negative pH music, right? You're like, well, wait a minute, where's the music in the backdrop? I've actually been called out on that before, which is really strange. But you notice here, I have not done that. It's because the music in the game is always on. Usually when I get in a game, I will lower the music volume and I will go about my business recording, and then I'll add my own music later because I don't want to have in-game music conflicting with background music. That sounds terrible. Unfortunately, when you pop open the settings here, you have no audio options at all. There's nothing. I can't say, I want to lower the music, I want to lower the ambiance, I want to lower the sound effects, I want to raise the VO volume. You can't do anything here. The settings are very beta. But with that being said, there was not a single moment while I was playing this game where I was like, damn, I wish I could lower the music, because the soundtrack is amazing. Now, I'll be honest, I'm a little bummed that I didn't spend the extra $5 to pick up the soundtrack, because that was included in the $20 collector's edition off of Steam. But that's not to say that I didn't leave this game open for hours on end, just letting it play in the background. Alright guys, that's pretty much it, and obviously I like the soundtrack. It's a pretty good game. $15, it was really difficult for me to pass it up, and I'm very happy that I spent it. I feel like I got in on a deal that's, that will eventually just get better. It's kind of like when you buy bananas and they're like really green, it's like, yeah, you can eat it now and you still get the nutritions and all that stuff, but if you wait a little while, it will just get better. And then, I guess, the banana is kind of a bad example, right? Because it does eventually go bad, like the second that it hits yellow, it just immediately goes black. I hate bananas. But anyways, I have a couple things lined up for next week. Smite being potentially one of them. That seems to be the one that a lot of you guys are asking me to cover. I got hooked up with like 10 beta keys from random people, which is great because now I have it installed and I will take a look at it. I've seen the videos and very impressed with global agendas. High-Res's global agenda. I did like that. I like tribes even more, so I'm definitely curious to see what they're doing with Smite. So let me know in the comments below if that's something you want to see. If you have anything else you want to recommend. We also have Firefall Secret World betas this weekend, or this past weekend, or whatever. So let me know what you guys want to see, and I'll see you guys next week.